All right, lads, welcome back to an extra episode of Who's Got the Ball. So this week we're doing our full NBA season preview. Shane and myself are joined by Michael. Absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming on once again, Michael.
Thanks for bringing me. I'm here, I'm suited and booted. I'm ready to give you the analysis and the facts that you need, okay?
Michael is on his
Thank you.
Stephen A. Smith vibe. If you're watching on YouTube, and if you're not, you need to click on. He has got a lovely shirt on him right now. He is ready to rock and roll. Myself and Shane, just in the usual attire. Michael is kind of making us look silly here,
Putting us
maybe
to
a little bit
shame.
tactic. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll never invite you on again. You never know. But yeah, appreciate you for coming on. So the topics we touched on are kind of similar to the Premier League and NFL season previews, if you listen to those, but we went through our player award predictions first. So MVP, and we went for a favorite of ours and an underdog for each one. So MVP, defensive player of the year, coach of the year, and then rookie of the year. Then we went with our team predictions. So which teams were going to finish in the playoff spots in the East and in the West, and who's going to finish bottom of each of those divisions. So that was a nice little extra thrown in there. Sorry to those teams. Then into the playoff predictions, we went into our Eastern Finals matchup and our winners. Western Finals matchup and winners. We all had a different matchup across the board. Once it got into the finals, we all had different matchups going into the conference finals. So that was interesting. Gave our finals winners, finals MVP, and then we gave some interesting odds along the way for those if you're fancying a bet. We finished off with a hot take each. You want to stick around for that one with Michael? He went full Stephen A there, and to be honest, I wasn't too far behind him. And then last up, we had our three best bets each. And you'll be beyond surprised to see what the focus of Shane's bets were. Definitely didn't go heavy on the Rockets there at all, but
Never even heard of him. Never even heard of him.
let's jump straight into the episode because we've got a lot to get to. So enjoy what's ahead. All right, so it is that time of the year. We're on to NBA season once again. Seemed like it rolled around very, very quickly, but you're going to be listening to this. It's going to be entering your ears on Tuesday morning, very late tonight, 12 a.m. Irish time. We're going to get the season kicked off. So I hope you're all strapped in and ready to go. We've got player award predictions to kick us off. So we're going to start with our MVP choices. And for each section, well, for a number of the individual sections, we're going to give our underdog picks as well, just for a little bit of something there for you, a bit of interest for some outside picks. But we'll start with you, Michael, since you are the guest. We've got MVP pick. Who are you going with for this season?
I honestly, I think there's only one man for it. It's got to be Jokic. Every time I feel like, especially as a Sixers fan, I feel like this is Embiid's year. He's just so consistently at the top. And even with his lack of athleticism, every year he just does more. And I think an even bigger part of that was watching the team fall apart in the playoffs. You see how much of that team was flawed, especially on that roster, how much flaws there were, and how much he kind of paints over everything. I think the addition of Cam Johnson, then obviously Aaron Gordon being healthy, hopefully for the year,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great look for him to be MVP, for him to come back, have great numbers, be
Mm-hmm.
one of the top 4 seed maybe this year. And I think that's at 3-1 odds. So, I mean, he is at the top, but I think he's the safest bet as well.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in here before I throw it to you, Shane, because I also have Jokic, so I'm just going to add on to that point that just coming off last season, like if you look at statistically, I know you mentioned his value to the team, but last year he had the most points he's ever had per game, 29.6, the most rebounds, second most rebounds, sorry, he's ever had per game in a season with 12.7, the most assists he's ever had in a game per season with 10.2. So he averaged well over a triple double in a number of stats. Then the 10.2 assists, the first time he averaged over 10 assists. You're looking at 1.8 steals per game, the most he ever had in a season. And his 3 point percentage was the best he'd ever had as well at 41.7%. And that was shooting more threes than he ever has before. So this guy is just an absolute machine. Like he won the year before the MVP, of course. Last year, it does come down to record, I guess, and I did pick Shea to win it at the start of the year, so I was going to ride that until the end. But like the record played into that massively, and I think some of the coaching situation and different things around the Nuggets probably didn't help Jokic. So I think this year is his bounce back time. And even if he does, like, I just listed out how well he performed, he doesn't have to do the best he's ever done in every stat. But, even if he puts up close to that and the Nuggets are like 2 or 3 wins even off the top seed, then he's going to definitely take it this year. But who have you got, Shane?
Yeah, so I did look at him as well, obviously, and I just think he's favorite. Well, he's not favorite. Today is the favorite, but he is right up there for a reason. But I think this is the year in the Lakers and the changing of the guards. I think what Luca is going to do this year will put him in a really, really strong place to win this. So he's 4-1, as a small bit of an outsider. He's only third favorite, so it's not like I'm really pushing the boat down with this. But I just think if the Lakers are going to kind of go and do anything, then he's going to be the man that's going to make a massive difference from here. So we finished last season in his 28 Lakers starts at 28.2 points a game. If he can stay in or around that, then he'll be doing extremely well. That is some going, especially with 7.5 assists on top of it as well. So I just think if it's not going to be Jokic or it's not going to be Shea, then it has to be Luca outside of those two. Then
Yeah, I like that shout because, like you mentioned, the changing of the guard there, that would be like a huge moment, I guess, in the NBA as well if he does fully take over from LeBron. Obviously, it is going to be his team going into the future. So, yeah, I think, and plus he was very close to winning it the year that Jokic did win it. It was under deep consideration, but obviously Jokic is a different level, so it could be a thing of team success plays into it again. But in terms of underdogs, what have you gone with, Shane? We'll stick with you.
another man who, if his team were going to do anything, he's going to be the big one. Kevin Durant at 60-1 is. You know what? It's a shout for a reason. I've said this when I said the Jets were good. I'm open to the criticism when it comes. I'll absolutely take it. But I just think at 60-1, if the Jets can go on and do something in the conference this year or like really, really push themselves far, then he'll be the
Rocket
man that's
style.
kind of getting them over the line. So yeah, so 60-1. His name as well is obviously going to help a long way as well if it comes down to it. So yeah, Kevin Durant at 60-1.
Yeah, I've gone with Anthony Edwards. I think just in general, he's a guy that he's already spectacular, but his defense plays a massive part as it does for Jokic. But Jokic might carry a bit more of an offensive load. Anthony Edwards is well capable of doing it on both sides of the ball. He's still so young. He's still able to take another 2 or 3 leaps, I would say, over the course of his career. And if this year is a big one, like the story's already coming out that he was in the gym literally the day after they got eliminated and he's been in there ever since. You just know that he's taking this so seriously. So if he takes a big jump, I think at 25-1, it's worth a look. What about you, Michael?
You guys went with much more measured responses than I did. Look, if you're gonna go underdog, you just got to go all in. And I went with Paulo Banchero. I mean, I feel like the Magic, especially with Desmond Bain added, I think they're a prime, at least regular season team. I think they could balloon up to like could be a top 2 seed. And I think a lot of the time when a team jumps, and makes such a big step, in what they're looking to do, a lot of the time it's that main man. And
Mm-hmm.
that's Paulo on that Magic team. I think Desmond Bain and Franz Wagner are great pieces around him. So, I mean, that's 100-1 odds.
Yeah, it's
That's a
very good.
great bit of cash, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah,
So I think like even if you don't factor in injuries, I think they'll be a great regular season team at least.
yeah.
So
No, I like it. I like the shout. So that's the furthest outside. But I'm surprised it's actually 100-1. That's
Yeah, me
very
too.
considering how good they could be in the East. But more on them later, I guess, when we get into our conference picks. Because yeah, I've got some things to say about that Magic team. So defensive player of the year. I'd be beyond surprised if we didn't all go for the same person here. It's a shoe in pretty much. I think Wemby. He would have won it last year without injuries. He's 4-7. Looking at last year, 3.8 blocks a game, 1.1 steals, 11 boards, and then 46 starts. And yeah, that's on top of everything he's doing on the offensive side. But obviously, this is a defensive award. So, do you both have Wemby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was
I
no
was thinking
option
that.
here. It's
There's
yeah.
no, yeah,
It feels like some of these awards are just like you can say whatever you want to try and be controversial or stand out of it, but there's sometimes you can't stand out without looking like a fool. And this is one of the ones where you really can't stand out without looking like a fool. Wemby's going to walk it if he stays fit.
yeah.
Yeah.
We have to put it there. So I think the underdog conversation is probably a more interesting one here. In my opinion, it would have to be Wemby getting injured again. So for this to happen, so let's take in that case. Obviously, you don't want to wish injury upon anyone, but other
Mm.
than him getting injured, he has to win it. So let's go with you first, Michael. Who's your underdog?
Ooh, my underdog. I love him. It's Tumani Camara. For the Blazers, he's got an extensive list of the coolest nicknames I've ever heard. The Shadow, the Box. What's I can't remember his third one, but two of the coolest nicknames I've ever heard. And I mean, at the end of the season last year, the Portland Trail Blazers were a top 5 defense in the league. They've just added Drew Holiday,
Mm-hmm.
and probably their weakest defender, who, in my opinion, was Anthony Simons. I mean, Shaden Sharp has the potential to be a great defender, especially with his athleticism. So,
Mm.
I mean, you look at that team, even if that team is a 6 seed, they could be top 5 in defense. And if he's the kind of generator in the middle, the tax collector, that's his
Oh,
third
that's nice.
nickname. If
Yeah,
he can be the tax collector of that team against everyone else,
and he
I
just
think
got his
he's got a really,
extension
really
yesterday
good
as
shot.
well. So
Yeah,
they know it too.
275 to 1.
Wow,
So
wow,
it's another. I
that's
feel
way
like
too
it's
big.
so low,
Mm.
but
It's worth
it
a
could
go.
boom.
That's worth it. I think that's worth a look. Like if you're thinking like the same thing that could have happened last year. To be honest, I think it's definitely worth a look. And my player that I've gone with is, I guess, under your argument. I don't want to assume anything, but I'm guessing it's like you're considering the team with one of the best defenses. You're going to pick the best defensive player on that team. And sometimes that comes into play. So I've gone the same way, and that's why I've gone with Dyson Daniels. I just think that this Hawks defense is going to be unfair. Like him and Nikhil Alexander Walker on the court at the same time is just going to be absolute torture for anyone that's trying to come through that paint and trying to literally do anything of the sort. And looking at last year, he had 3 steals per game in 76 starts. They were missing some of their best players. No Jalen Johnson. He's another factor that's going to play into this defense. Their defense is going to be probably the best in the East, maybe up there anyway with the Magic, and the Pistons are going to fight for that as well. But I think he's going to be the one that puts the most stats up and continue to start on this team and shine for them. So that's 25 to 1. So that was my pick there. We've got you, Shane. What do you think?
Yeah, so I've put down two because I thought it'd be unfair to put down one twin without mentioning the other as well. So I've gone for Eamon and Osar Thompson, 16 to 1 and 60 to 1. Eamon's defensive stats last year were 8.1 rebounds, 1.4 blocks, and 1.3 steals across the season. Asar then was 5, just under 1 and just over 1. So the two of them have been really, really good defensively, especially if the Rockets are going to do what I really hope they're going to do. He's going to have a big, big part to play. And if he's not going to win MVP, then they should give him the Defensive Player of the Year for when we go and walk every single match and finish with an unbeaten record.
Big talk, but yeah, no, he is a good player, good defender. But Asar is a good shout because he like obviously he had those blood clot issues, and now
Mm.
he kind of trickled slowly back into this team, and the Pistons defense is unbelievably good. So that's another shout of a strong defender on a strong defensive team. So we've got that locked up. We've got our MVP locked up. Let's give the coaches some pop here. Coach of the year favorite. I'm gonna go first this time because this is a team that it kind of falls into my last point. This is a team that's going to be defensively excellent, and they're going to take such a jump from what they've done in the last few years, in my opinion. And that's going to be the Atlanta Hawks. So I've gone with Quinn Snyder. He's 15 to 2 here. I just love the roster that the Hawks have. Like in general, what they had last season, kind of the core of Trae Young. I know Jalen Johnson was injured, but he was there. You had Ricochet, Okongwu was an option, Dyson Daniels. But then to go into this offseason and add Kristaps Porzingis, and Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Luke Kennard is another good piece. I just think at all that you've got Zachary Ricochet still probably they'd be hoping for him to take another jump and continue to develop over time, which I think is it was important to get in Kristaps, maybe to lighten that load on him a little bit. So all in all, I think this team will be incredibly strong. And when a team is strong and they take a big jump, the coach usually gets looked at favorably. And he is a very good coach already, but this will probably allow him to take a jump into being considered for this award, I think. So we'll throw it to you next, Shane.
So I've actually gone with the favourites for this award, with the bookies in Mosley of the Magic. I just think they're going to come on leaps and bounds this year, and if they get anywhere close to kind of the level they're looking at, if they get a top 5, top 6 seed, he's definitely going to be in the conversation. He's favourite for a reason. I couldn't keep going with Rockets lads, so I didn't want to put Amadoka in here as well. So I've pushed the boat out and gone with the favourites.
Yeah, Michael, have you gone any different from either of us?
Nick
I
Nurse.
actually have Ime Udoka written down here and scribbled out, and Quinn Snyder written above it. And it's been like that for about 2 hours because I feel like I am on the same train as you. We had our basketball draft yesterday. Dyson Daniels has been one of my higher picks, and it's looking great. I think that team put together, I mean, with all the pieces they have, like you said, they should be a top defensive team. And can we not forget that Trae Young, the Midas touch of an offense, he is just going to be a wizard up there doing whatever he wants on that team. I think I'm on the same page as you. Quinn Snyder, I feel like for me, has to be the favorite. I know the Magic look also to be a top seed, but I think the quick turnaround of the Hawks, whereas the Magic have kind of been building,
Yeah, the
we're
big
going to
jump
credit a
always
lot to the
plays a
coach.
massive part in it, I think. But I think another look at somebody then who could make a big jump is kind of falling back in again to your defensive mention. You went to Manny Kamara. I'm going with his coach as my underdog. So I'm going with Chauncey Billups here. I was surprised he was 40-1 because I think the Blazers are a make a leap candidate here. If everything goes right, their roster is much improved, and they've got some more veterans in there just to set the tone. Dame Lillard, I know he's injured, but being back on the team is a big thing for morale and helps the coach out no end. So I think that Billups is going to be someone in a lot of consideration for this. If the team even makes it like to an 8th seed, he has to be strongly considered, I think. So, what do you guys make of the Billups shout?
I mean, I definitely see that also possibly happening, but for me personally, my underdog has got to be Joe Mazzulla. I think I think the Celtics could creep into the playoffs without their best player, and
With no team,
I think they're going to give credit to the coach. Well, I don't know. Jason Tatum might show up after Christmas like a
yeah,
birthday present, but
Likely.
like I just think even I just think there's no way Joe Mazzulla is letting that Celtics team be bottom 4 of that conference. You know, and if he I think in the Eastern Conference he could coach his way to a 6 seed if Anthony Simons does the jump that he wants him to in a kind of winning environment instead of the last few years of the Trailblazers. Um so I mean that's 13-1. I mean all of my underdogs are crazy, but uh
yeah,
at
no,
least I might make something if one of them hit.
I see the vision on that being possible because if it does happen, it's going to have to be credit for him because, yeah, like the team does not look good right now on paper. Like their center rotation is pretty woeful viewing. So if he does something there, I understand the view. But Shane, then what about you to wrap up the coach conversation?
So I've let myself be influenced by the time we had a chat a couple of weeks back or a month or so ago, that do you think the 76ers are going to be a top seed? And Nick Nurse at 22-1. If they're going to do what you think they're going to do, and I think they're going to be crap, and they all of a sudden being very good, he'll be in the conversation. I think at 22-1, it's just really good odds. I'm really starting to give your teams too much credit now. Last week having the Giants in my power rankings, and this week having your
Yeah, see
coach
how
in
that
as the
worked out for
underdog
me.
coach of the year. So we'll have to leave it there now. But I think 22-1, I just think is a really, really good bet. If he can keep the big boys face and they can win upwards of 40 games, then he'd have to
Yeah.
be in the conversation.
No, I like it. But obviously both myself and Michael would be happy to hear that choice. And just on leaving it there for my teams, absolutely no chance. Let's get to Thursday's episode, and Man United defeating Liverpool is the main topic of conversation. So
There was no football at the weekend. I don't know what you're talking about.
but anyway, let's keep on track with the NBA stuff. We've got one more player award to go through here. So we're going to hit Rookie of the Year. Again, I find the underdog conversation more interesting here. Unless any of you have gone away from Cooper Flag for your favorite. But I have Flag.
No, I have Flag.
Yeah, Michael's head
There's no
shaking
way.
as well. So we're gone all Flag shoe in here at 8-15. Just the level of him coming out of college and how good he already looks to be and how good he will be. It's without a doubt. It's only if somebody else really shines that they could take this, or God forbid an injury, as we already mentioned in the Wemby situation. We don't want to see that. But let's give the underdog conversation a go then, Shane. I'll throw it to you first. Who have you got?
Yeah, I've gone for Ace Bailey at 9-1. Another lad coming out of college, full of confidence, looks really, really good. Last year, he played 30 games in his only year of college basketball. 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 17 and a half points per game. He's like, I know he's going to drop a little bit, but he's not going to fall out the face of the earth and just become complete another dud in the space of 3 months. I think at 9-1, if now it is going to be Cooper Flag, but if it's not, and you're looking for someone to just kind of place your hat on, then Ace Bailey's a good shout there.
Yeah, I think that Bailey is not a bad shout at all, because the Jazz will probably let him kind of do what he wants.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they do want to tank, unless they're for some reason, changing their idea. But I think they're still continuing to probably allow the team to like experiment with different things. And the
Mm,
long-term contract the coach is under, like, he can kind of, do what he
get away
wants.
with
So
it.
that's a possibility. But I've gone with Dylan Harper, 12-1. I just think that in a world where the Spurs find out that Harper is their man for the future, and it's not going to be Castle and it's not going to be Darren Fox, if he's the one that shines, even if he's doesn't statistically put up as much as those who is a little bit better than Castle, a little bit less than Fox statistically or minutes wise. I think as the season rolls on, if Harper does kind of cement himself as the more permanent guy to feed Wemby and maybe perform strongly with the bench unit initially, if the Spurs do well this season, then he should be under consideration. And I think 12-1 is a bit steep. I think it should be a little bit. It's just all swayed because Flag is money on. So you're
Mm.
getting some decent odds outside of it. So if you did want an underdog, I think I like Harper here. But let's throw it to you, Michael, then.
Guys, I told you all of my underdog picks are absolutely insane. Okay. So I didn't go VJ Edcombe. I've actually went away from most like Sixers love picks because I don't want to be blindsided. So I've just thrown a dart at the board and I've thought about it a lot. I think Igor Domain on the Nets in the one off chance that Cooper Flag gets hurt. Like you said, like I think it's also underrated how NBA ready this guy is. He's been training. I mean, there's clips on YouTube of him training with professionals for like 3 years now, and he was on the USA select team. But I think the Nets were so bad last year and were so low on playmaking, any sort of playmaking or passing or whatever. I think if he can have his shooting be a little bit better than what it was in college and just have it be respectable, he could be averaging like 9 assists a game if they just chuck him out there for 30 minutes. And he's got Cam Thomas and Michael Porter Jr.
Out.
on his. right and
He might
left.
have to rip the ball out of Cam Thomas's hands if he wants to. But yeah, I see the point that he's probably the
Uh,
best choice out of all their multiple first rounders.
Yeah, I just think with like Ace Bailey and that Jazz team, I don't know, sometimes like there's so many players there that they let do whatever they want. It might start to feel a bit crowded. And VJ Edgecombe, I can't help but feel that that starting seven once McCain comes back is going to be that key seven rotation is going to be short as well. And if he's not immediately ready, which he looks pretty ready,
He looks it.
uh, he could suffer a little bit. So I mean, eager them in 150 to 1. Book
God.
it in. Chuck a tenner.
A tenner, man, come on, do your there, lose it out. Yeah, so that's our lovely ended on a crazy note there. One of the most outrageous picks, but we love that. So that's all our player performance. Let's get into the juicy bit now. Let's get into which teams we think are going to make the playoffs. Um, which teams we think are then from there gonna go all the way. But we'll start off with our Eastern Conference team playoffs. So we're just gonna ignore play-in teams for here. Let's just who's gonna end up in the 1 to 8 seeds, regardless of how it goes in the play-in. I think to start off, I'm just gonna say we should all have the Cavs, Knicks, Magic, and Pistons. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say those points. Yeah, so we're all in
Yeah.
agreement there. We'll just nail those four on. Now, when we get to the West, I think there's a lot more variability because there's so many good teams. But for here, I think those four are just shooting. And I'm gonna throw it to you first, Michael, to go from there. What other four teams do you have?
My next four teams are Hawks, Sixers, Heat, and the Celtics.
Oh, my God.
I have
just
the exact same 8 as Michael.
There's no way
yes,
the two of
Yeah,
you.
the
yes.
exact same 8. In a different order, but the exact same 8.
That's outrageous. Oh my god. So Shane hasn't learned from his hate comments on YouTube saying that he's completely wrong on the Celtics, but I've not got the Celtics. I have not got the Celtics. Can I ask you all one thing here? Who's the best player in the East? Who's the
The
best player in the
best
East?
player in the East
Just
right now.
forget it if like Embiid is, I know, is injury prone. He's probably the most talented, but over the last number of years, who has it been? It's been Giannis. It's been Giannis. And neither of you to pick
Yeah.
them to get into the playoffs is crazy work. Like, I think that the Bucks are definitely going to get a spot. He's not going to leave. He's not I don't think he's one of those guys that is going to in season try to blow the team up. He's too nice of a guy and he doesn't really play the thing the same way the American guys do, with like forcing out things and sitting out. I think he could do it at the end of the season, yeah, if things go wrong, but he's going to give this a go. They've got Miles Turner there now. Let's see how that works out. Not going to say they're going to win like 50 games, but this East is very weakened, and I think they're definitely going to get in. I should also say I agree with both of you on the Sixers and Hawks. I've got both of them in. I think Hawks are a shoe in. Sixers health dependent. I think they're going to be a very good team if they keep healthy. And then my last spot is I'm also going on a team that's injury hit. I'm going with the Pacers. I think they don't step away from getting to the finals by literally missing the playoffs by a margin to the likes of the Heat and the Celtics. The Celtics team is completely destroyed, dismantled. I actually think that some of the options that the Pacers have still that didn't get as many minutes last season, the likes of Benedict Mathurin, the likes of Andrew Nemhard actually handling the ball more, which we saw him do in the playoffs and look pretty good at it. The likes of Obi Toppin. These guys are very solid players, and I don't think that they're going to take that much of a drop off the face of the earth because Halliburton is injured. They're going to play a different way, but they're still going to get enough wins to get in the playoffs for me. And I like the odds on them to get in. They're 27 to 20. I think they have quite a strong chance to get into the playoffs. But what do you guys think?
I've no real
I
issues with what you're going with. Like, I do think if we were doing a play in here, John, if we were adding the playing teams, that I would have those two firmly in there. Like they would absolutely be in a top 10 for me. I just think the Celtics are just so used to winning. Like I just don't see them falling off as
But
much as you do. And
who's
Michael
used to
is
win?
clearly the same.
Who's used to
Sorry?
winning for them? Who's used to winning for them? Drew Holiday,
I think
Jason
that, yeah, just,
Tatum, Al
I think
Horford.
more
They don't have
as
any of
an,
those guys anymore.
yeah, but I think more as an organization in themselves, they're just used to, like, their fans will demand performances when they're playing at home. They'll demand the 3 pointers, they'll demand everything. Now, maybe I could be completely wrong, and all the faceless accounts on TikTok could be very, very right here, but we'll have to wait and
I
see.
just don't see it. I just don't see it at all, to be honest.
I just I mean I'm with you as well. I was really thinking about the Pacers going up, but I think the big thing about the Bucks, the reason why I left them out, which I think was a huge thing that I didn't really elaborate on, Giannis has been getting more and more short-tempered as the years have went by. And even this offseason, he was saying like he wants some changes to happen. They trade Dame, they pick up Miles Turner, and then I mean, I think 2.5, 3 weeks ago, we're hearing whispers now about him talking about buying a house in Greece and doing all this other stuff, even though they just picked up both of the Antetokounmpo brothers. I mean, regardless of everything they did this summer, he's still talking to people around him about the
Mhm.
option of him leaving. And I think there's a chance that like the first 2.5 months of this season go really bad for the Bucks and he starts ringing the fire alarm, internally. I don't think he would come out and start bashing the org, but I think after a trade by December or something, you'll probably hear whispers come out that he was not happy for the first half of the season. So I just feel like the Bucks have almost like they've tried their hardest,
They've
and I
done
still
everything that they
think they
could
end up
for
on the
him, and I
bottom.
think he's grateful for that. So that's why I don't see that happening to the extent we're used to see it happening with American players, as I mentioned. And like players that have come from Europe and other countries have never really done that thing that American players have done and kind of demanded this is what's happening whether I'm under contract or not. That's why I just struggle to kind of see it. But I get your point that if that does happen, then the Bucks probably do fall away, but I don't think it will. So let's move on then to our West playoff teams. I think we'll give all of our picks here. I think there's a few that'll definitely match up across the board, but there is a few that are a little bit more difficult. So I'll let you go first, Michael. Here, what have you got as your 8?
My A going through is Thunder at the top, then Nuggets, Timberwolves, Rockets, Grizzlies, Lakers, and then might hear some crazy stuff. I've
Blazers
got
are coming.
the Spurs and the Clippers.
Oh no, it's not too crazy. Not too crazy, but the Warriors missing out for you.
The
Mm.
Warriors missing out. I think betting on an old team, and I know the Clippers also is kind of crazy,
Hmm.
but I like John Collins, and I think Zubac is a fantastic center for them. So I think they kind of have. I think Bradley Beal is also going to add a lot, but the Warriors are elderly.
They are
Like,
elderly, but the
oh my
Clippers are
God, they
the
are
Clippers are so old as well, and I would rather bet on an elderly Steph than an elderly James Harden any day of the week.
true. But I think so many people. I mean, I think Horford's waiting to fall off a cliff. Anytime he's not in the Celtics like scheme, he has been horrible for like the last 4 years outside of like a little bit with OKC. And even after then, no one picked him up other than the Celtics. So like it's I think it's prime for him to come in, have 20 minutes a game for a month, and then be horrible. And then people starting to get injured. And the Warriors, like they've done the last 3 years, have completely failed to put a team around Steph, completely failed to build out depth on the team. And I think they miss it altogether.
I would. I'm pushing back on that because I'm never gonna go against like a Steph-led team, and I think what they've actually done to have another. I know the last time Jimmy Butler has played like more than 60 games or in a season was back with the Bulls. So this is a long time. He's gonna miss time regardless. Steph probably will miss time. But I think the two of them together with Draymond, I know you argued against Horford, but I do think that it's a better option than Kevon Looney. He was running out a road there with that team. Personally, I think that they did as much as they could with him over the years. And I like the other pieces they have. Like Pajemski, he probably falls out of the starting rotation, to be honest, for Buddy Hield because he was poor last year. In preseason, he's looked atrocious again. So Buddy Hield and Jimmy have a nice thing going too, which I like. And then Seth Curry, he was always a Warriors player. He should have been there a long time ago. He fills it up. He plays off the bench. He plays hard. So I have them in. But I know I said about the elderly Clippers. I have no problem with it. I have no problem with it. I'm just saying I would rather that the Warriors than the Clippers. But I still have those Clippers in there. I've got them. And the team that I left out that you selected is the Spurs. I just think there's too much more talent and kind of know-how on other teams. Maybe the Grizzlies could be one that the consensus would be to drop them out, but I'm on the same boat as you, as we had a chat about when you came on a couple of weeks ago. I really like them, and 6-4 for them to get into the playoffs. I like that a lot. So I think they have a good chance. So I think my total list is Thunder, Nuggets, Rockets, Lakers, Timberwolves, Warriors, Clippers, and Grizzlies. But Shane, what have you got? Have you gone similarly to us, or any spanners thrown in there?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. I don't know if I'd call it a spanner, but I was kind of very stuck between the Spurs and the Maverick. And I have put the Maverick in as my eighth seed here. I have the Thunder, Rockets, Nuggets, Timberwolves, Clippers, Lakers, Warriors, and Maverick as my top eight.
Yeah.
Um, I actually found the West easier than the East to pick, which is a bit mad because the East is just kind of, it looks like it's just all there and should all just be so easy to pick. But I
Mm.
just think there is a lot of good teams in the West, but there's a lot of them that you're just like, yeah, you're a playing team at best. It's what you're going to be for the next couple of years. I just found choosing between the Spurs and the Mavericks was my only issue here. I think the rest of them, the Clippers, I didn't even think twice about it. Same with the Warriors. I know you're both saying about them elderly, but no, they're two really good teams. They're going to win enough games to get it here into the top eight. I have the Rockets at second over the Nuggets. That's definitely nothing to do with bias. Other than that, not much more to say. I think we're all fairly similar. I think it says a lot about both sides. I just think this one is far more competitive than the other side is, and I'll be saying this all year long, especially to Chops when we talk about the Knicks. I'll be telling him about how his division is far easier than ours is, so he can't really talk to me.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. It is a lot easier. And that's why looking at this and doing this, I've always thought this way over the last few years, but especially now more than ever, I thought, like, thank God this like Sixers team is bouncing back in an East and not in a West, because I would be way less confident that they make the playoffs. But you left out the Grizzlies, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
think
interesting.
that's it. That is interesting, but I do think that that's more probably of a consensus having lost Bane, but I still really like them, and I like them more than the Mavericks and the Spurs, in my opinion. I think Mavericks and Spurs are around that playing point, and the Blazers are not too far off that either for me.
Yeah, I just think there's always so much turmoil in Memphis because of what Jam Morant is doing. Now they've gotten rid of Desmond Bain as well. I think they're due a year where they just kind of hip along middle of the road and don't really set any world alight. And I think it might be this year. Now, wouldn't
I
surprise me at
thought that
all
was
if they come
last
out
year
and
for
they
them, personally.
finished. Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Last year wasn't their best either, but I just don't see him bouncing back too quick. What were they, 48 and 34 last year? They were 8.8 games above the Kings and the Mavericks. So it is a big jump for either of those teams to knock them out. I just don't think it's going to be the same eight again this time next year as it was this time last year.
I just feel like the Grizzlies are too talented to not make the playoffs, but I think they're I mean, unless they prove me wrong halfway through the year, or just a first round exit, like you said, they just I think I like a lot of their pieces, but can anybody sit here and really envision them in the Western Conference Finals? Like
No.
they need something to change, and I think Desmond Bain was not the choice.
Mhm.
Mm.
But also, as I mentioned on that episode we did, I think now is the time for Ja and Jaren Jackson Jr. to kind of really be like, grab this team by the throat and be like, this is our vision. This is what we're doing now. They trusted us. Let's show now what we're going to do. So I think in 6 months' time, it could be, oh yeah, now this is a team we could see get into the Western Conference Finals. But on paper, without Bane, it is. I agree. It is kind of harder to see that. So those are our teams for each of the runs. Let's end on a looking at the team predictions with a little look at who we have ranked bottom in each conference before we move on to our playoff chat. So, who have you got as bottom in the East and bottom in the West, Michael?
Bottom in the East, I have. I'm
Don't say
right
the
in
Wizards.
between the Wizards and the Nets,
Don't say
and
the
I'm
Wizards.
leaving it until the last minute. But I want to say the Wizards. I actually feel a bit better about the Nets than the
That's
Wizards,
crazy.
just because the Nets have decided to go experienced scorer Michael Porter Jr. and then pick 5 rookies that can pass the ball, and they're praying that something happens. I think something's got to stick, and they've just got to be better than the worst team.
I think this
Now,
the worst team. I actually think that there's more talent in the veteran level and the rookie level on the Wizards than the Nets.
I kind of like the Wizards, and I like some of the pieces
Yeah, I
as
like
well,
them.
but I will never like. At least the Nets had that like bump year with KD, Harden, and Kyrie. The Wizards have always like. I have a feeling like Jordan Poole is going to have a great year with the Pelicans this year, and it's just going to show that the Nets organization, like, and not the Nets, the Wizards organization might just be really, really bad. But we'll see. Hopefully it's wrong and they
Yeah.
bring themselves out of the depths.
Well, you can take from my argument that I had the Nets. Shane, who did you go with?
I went with neither of those teams. I went with the Hornets. So they finished last season with 9-1 of their last 10. They were only one game above the Wizards. I just think they're atrocious. I really do. I think they're atrocious. I think the Nets, even though they are absolutely abysmal, I just think that they'll always find a way to win enough games. Like they beat the Rockets last year in a ridiculous shootout. They can go and do that, maybe one game of 10, and they can very easily get to the 25, 26 wins again. That kind of shoots them up the table a bit. I just don't see where the Hornets are getting their wins from. I think they're going to have an awful struggle all year. So I've them as my bottom in the East.
I just like the Knuckle pick, and I also like Brandon Miller a lot, so that just deterred me from it. But apart from that, yeah, they have no centers, so it's hard
Yeah.
to. Mason Plumlee might, rocket them straight to the bottom. But let's stick with you then. Who have you got with the West, Shane, as your bottom seed?
The Jazz are going to continue propping up the division next year.
Yeah, I'm going with the Jazz too.
Yeah, they're just useless. I think they want to be useless, but then they never get the first pick in the lottery, so they have to keep being useless till they eventually get the first pick in the lottery and get themselves a Cooper Flag or an Ace Bailey or something. But
The year
geez,
they
they're
get
up
it
there.
is going
Yeah,
to be the year they get it is going to probably be like the worst year ever coming out of college with all of this.
I know. Yeah, it's going to be the Rockets' second bottom to them the year they get it then or something.
Who have you got then,
Uh
Michael, for this?
stop. I wrote off like it was really interesting writing down the playoff teams. I went 1 to 6 and then I couldn't fit in the last 2. So I wrote in the next 8 teams or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, I'm missing a team. Who's supposed to be at the bottom?" And then I just wrote Jazz LOL
Yeah.
right there at the bottom. And that's my pick. I love some of their pieces on their team. Seems like a big black hole of nothing going on though. So
Yeah,
I'm just not going to trust it.
there's no reason to trust it. I don't. I think probably out of all the teams in the West, you could argue about different things to yourself about each one of them. Something positive. To be honest, for me, the Suns are pretty close to this point as well because it's so hard to see things working. But they have enough good pieces, and
Hmm.
this is a more let's see with them because they have a lot of pieces. The Jazz have nothing, so has to be the Jazz here. But one thing I wanted to go back on, I forgot to mention. I think the Celtics to miss the playoffs at 3-2 is decent if you want to add it in with something else. So that was another nice odds that I had. But let's move on to the big one, the playoff predictions. We're going to go through our conference finals matchups and winners, and then we'll move on to the NBA finals winners and our finals MVP as well before we wrap up with something fun then for you at the end. So playoff predictions. We'll start in the East as we did already. We'll throw it to you first, Shane. Who have you got in the Eastern Conference Finals, and who have you got winning?
These conference finals, the Knicks and the Magic. And for me, I just think the Knicks are going to come on a lot stronger than they did last year. They were really, really good towards the end of last year. The Knicks to win it is 7-2, and they'll beat the Magics in the final.
Ooh, how many games do you think that would go if you had it?
Oh, go 6 anyway, if not to a game 7.
Well, I'm gonna run off the back of that because I have the exact same matchup. I have Knicks and Magic as well. I think the Knicks probably the best offensive team, the Magic the best defensive team.
Mm.
And I've said it before when we talked about the Knicks and when we talked about other teams in the East, when they will come unstuck is playing a physical team that pushes them so hard. Like they nearly came unstuck against the Pistons last year. I think this Magic team has the makings of a finals team now with Desmond being added, and they have so much talent. And I think they have an excellent coach as well. So I'm going with the Magic to win it in 6 and take the East.
Oh, guys. I've got the Knicks, but I have the Hawks.
Yeah.
Now, I was
yeah.
in between the Hawks and the Sixers because the
I'm
homer
so
part of
glad you
me
didn't
is
say
like,
Sixers
this
'cause
is
it's
the
just
year.
it's just going to set us
Like
up for failure.
that's exactly why I didn't do it. So if it happens, I'm just pleasantly surprised. But
Yeah.
deep down inside, just know I really wanted to pick the Sixers, but I picked the Hawks, and that is 90% of the reason that I have Trae Young's name written on my heart. Okay. I think this is another Western Conference Finals minimum. Like this team I'm so high on this team, on Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels. I mean, they, like you said, they got Kristaps as well. I think it's Knicks Hawks. I think it goes 7. I think on top of that, that might be the most entertaining Eastern Conference Finals we'll ever have ever.
That would be
And
unbelievable. See Trae Young
I
in the
mean,
Garden.
it would be, and Brunson responding right back this time. The Knicks having someone who can go toe to toe with Trae Young is just going to be so entertaining. The optics of these 2-point guards going up against each other. But I do have I had the Knicks winning originally, but all of that pressure now. There's no way the Knicks win, so it's got to be the Hawks going into the finals. 8-1 odds. There's no. Think about it. The Giants just lost that game yesterday, and I nearly went to sleep because I thought they were just gonna
Anything can happen.
win.
It's New York pressure.
Anything can happen. But New York winning going to the finals, probably not gonna happen.
Yeah,
Hawks, give it to me.
I see the Knicks as a team that just won't make it past the Eastern Conference Finals because that is why I picked the Magic to win, because I just saw the Knicks and I envisioned it. I envisioned them getting to the final Eastern Conference Finals. They are going to be so happy over in New York. They're going to be on the streets, and then I just see things going very wrong. I just can't. And their coach as well, like Mike Brown, he doesn't strike confidence into me. At that level, I'm sorry, but I just think I wanted to go here. I wanted to go Magic Hawks, and first of all, the first thing I put in was like Sixers, and then I was like, no, can't put the curse on them. Let's change
Can't
it.
do it.
So I went Magic Hawks in my head, and then I went, no, I can't pick two teams that need to take a large jump. So I was like, I'm gonna go with the Magic. I think they're more likely, but I love the Hawks shout too, and it's a brave one. So we've got Shane. I like this so far. Shane's got the Knicks in the NBA Finals. I've got the
Magic. Yeah.
Magic, and Mike's got the Hawks. So let's move on then to the West. We'll go to you first, Michael. Who is your matchup and who is your winner?
Shane, you're gonna love this. My
Oh, no
matchup
way.
is Thunder Rockets because I think you know going back through the Western playoff teams, and I really couldn't put the Rockets top 3 seed, but I would not want to play them in the playoffs. That seems like I'm so high on so many of their pieces. I think Jabari Smith Jr. is great. I think Jalen Green getting removed was the best thing they could have done. I'm really upset for you about the Fred VanVleet loss.
It's rough.
That is heartbreaking. But you cross your fingers that Reed Shepherd got enough experience last year, and Eamon Thompson can make a bit of a playmaking jump this year as well, and then you're fine. I mean, especially in the
See, is that
playoffs, it's just going to be deadly, and that's why I'm picking the Thunder 6-5. There's no way anyone's beating them. It's like the Celtics when they won the cup. They're just going to be top 2 seed, then they're going to walk into the finals, and then they're going to kill whoever's in the other side. That's what's happening.
you did the Pat McAfee, like, lined it up as if you were going to pick his team and then just.
Sorry,
Give me
man.
the Thunder.
I have the shirt on and everything.
Oh, Shane. What have you got, Shane? We'll throw it to you after that gut-wrenching speech.
The exact same as him, to be honest, the whole way down to the Thunder winning it at 6-5. I do think the Rocks will get there. They're just not the best team in that conference. The Thunder are. I just backed the Thunder to do it over 6 or 7 games. I think they'll just have enough know-how to just, unfortunately, just end my year in heartbreak. But if we got to a conference finals, I'd be over the moon with that, to be honest,
Yes.
as the kind of the first step after all the effort of tanking put in for a couple of years to just finally get there would just be great. And then just push on the year after. Durant's last year of his contract, then see if he can go on and win it then in 2027.
I know we had that chat last week. We had the Rockets as one of our teams, and I did mention that, I don't think it will be this year, but that's not to say it won't be over the coming years. And I've kind of envisioned that, and that's why I've gone with the Thunder and Nuggets in the finals. I just think they're the best 2 teams in the West. And this is not to say to draw anger or anything like that, but the Rockets are a team that, whether wrong or right, it's just going to be a fact that a lot of other teams will want to play them in this playoff picture. The same way the Warriors wanted to play them last year. It's just there is a formula there to beat them. Now, whether KD takes that away and Van Vliet comes back in time for the playoffs, then it's a different story. But from the outlook right now, I think teams will want to play against them, and I do think that the Thunder and Nuggets are both stronger. I love what the Nuggets have done. Cam Johnson is just a huge upgrade on MPJ. They've brought him in, a joke of a trade. I don't know what the Nets are doing there. Valanciunas is a very solid center backup, even though he did want to go play in Europe. He's there now, so he's going to be the backup. You've got Christian Braun still there. I think somebody else between Peyton Watson, Zeke Naji, and Julian Strawther will take at least some sort of a step, one of them. Outside of that, you brought Bruce Brown back. You've got Tim Hardaway Jr., who can shoot at times. And then the main core. Jokic, we all had him very high. We'd all chatted about him highly earlier on. And then Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray. You've got a team there that already won a championship, and it's more improved. So I just think the Nuggets are going to do it this time. I think they're going to win in 7. I see them bringing the Thunder to 7 in an unbelievable series. I think the Thunder will grow again this year, but I just think the Nuggets have done enough to actually win it this time once it gets to a game 7. They've primed themselves and they're ready for it.
Yeah, so the hope for me on this is that somehow the Thunder and the Nuggets have to play each other before they get to meet in the final. So if that means Nuggets have to finish in kind of the 5 to 8 range, or I don't know how it's going to work, but I just need some sort of miracle where one of them has to knock out the other one and the Rockets have a free ride through with the other side. I think it will be between those 3. I think they're both fair shouts. If any of you had said anything involving those 3 teams, then there's nothing really you can complain about, because they're I think they are probably heads and shoulders above the rest of them. But there's so many teams on this side that would go into the other side and absolutely walk through and get to the
Yeah.
finals in their own right. So it's a really, really competitive division. So we'll have to wait and see how things go. But I think Rockets making that step to get to a conference finals this year will just be incredible. It would be a really enjoyable season the whole way through until we lost the game 7 as well. So yeah, it's all I want. Just a year of happiness from one of my teams.
Yeah, I didn't really realize, just to come to Shane's defense as well, I didn't realize how high I was on the Rockets until I was doing research for this. And really, like, even looking at the Nuggets and how, like, matching up against the Nuggets and how to defend against them, maybe it'll be different with the coach. But I think, first of all, the Rockets have one of the best coaches in the Western Conference. Ime Udoka is fantastic. And I think they have the team that I think I would like that matchup against the Nuggets. Now, you never want to bet against Jokic, and he's just going to be
But
insane.
who's
But
stopping? Like, who's gonna stop him there on the Rocket side? Like,
I don't know. You just throw Steven Adams at him and hope he does the same thing that Dwight Howard did for the Lakers. But I really like the Rockets. I really like him to make the Western Conference Finals. I'm not a betting man, but Rockets might have my number, you know, by the end of this because I think it's a good shout. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit lower on the Nuggets than I thought,
mm,
but I
I
think the
just
Rockets have a bit of a better rounded roster around KD
mm,
more
I
than
just
the
think they
Nuggets.
have.
But I
Like,
think Cam
sometimes you can
Johnson is
have
still
too
huge.
much. I think
Yeah,
sometimes you can have too much because it's a decision then about who do you play, who's fighting for minutes, what way do you go here. You can't feed everybody. And I know the Thunder did that very well, but that team has been developed into that. They were the 1 seed the year before. I just think the Nuggets have that, and they have the best player in the world. To dumb down the argument, they have the best player in the world, and they've the players around him. They've gone back to the formula of bringing Bruce Brown back. Actually got a proper backup this time at center, and they've also gone and gotten improvement on Michael Porter Jr. So I just can't see it any other way than that. But I think I don't know. I don't know would I be more swayed to move in the Rockets for the Thunder or the Nuggets, but I do agree they're in that third spot for me. I think, but I just can't talk myself out of the other two. So we've got our
Yeah,
matchups.
yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
think it could definitely be a shootout for who gets there between those three teams. Like if whichever of those two have to come up against each other, like there's going to be no walkovers in that. They're going to be really, really tight games the whole way through, and it'll just be about who has more know-how or who kind of like if what player can just step up on the day, who can stop Jokic or who can stop Durant and Şengün is what it is all going to come down to in the end. And like there's a reason that these odds are all so close as well from to win in the West Finals because even the bookies don't know what they're doing here. So I think it's going to be a really interesting year.
Yeah, that point of using know-how is then kind of why I came to my conclusion because the Thunder
No,
and
100%. I
Nuggets
get
have
that. Yeah.
piles more at this point, but it only takes 1 year to change everything. So at least we've all got our matchups now, and they're all different, which is great. So since you're the guest, Michael, we give you the honor of going first. You've got your finals matchups. I believe it's Thunder and Hawks.
it
Interesting.
is.
Who have you got winning?
It's definitely the no. It's the Thunder. Let's be 100% real. I just think like where did they take a step back this year? You know, everyone is already so young. They should be developing every year. They look like one of the best cores out there, unless you have Wemby on your team. Um, it's just where are they supposed to take a step back? Jalen Williams is going to take a step up. He was already an All Star last year. He's only going to get better next year. I mean, they've got wonderful guards around him. They've got Hartenstein at the back, and they've got Chet to only allow flourish more and more in this environment. I think unless there's some catastrophe and people get injured, I think they'll end up winning, and we'll say, "Oh, I don't know how we got convinced they weren't going to halfway through."
Yeah, I think it's hard to look past them if you have them there against any East. I think the West would be where they would fall down, but how many games would you think it's going to go? And give us your finals MVP pick as well.
I think I think it could genuinely go like 6 games. Now, if I had to put my money on it, I'd probably say 5. But so I'll stick with 5. I just go 5 games. I think Trey Young gets 1 game, but like their defense is so good. Their interior defense is so good. You know, they kind of play a little bit of a bully ball basketball as we saw in the finals that a lot of people were complaining about. But when matches get tight and stakes are on the line, the refs like to give a little push and pull for both teams, and they seemed ready, you know. And that's the biggest test for a young team is physicality knocking them on their back. I think they're gonna feel really prepared for this offseason, and I think SGA wins the MVP. I don't think there's any other choice for me. 2-1 odds. This is boring, but I mean, who knows? It might stay boring the whole way.
It is a possibility, and going off last year, that's the script right now. And since Shane, you also have the Thunder in the finals, let's get your prediction then.
Yeah, so I don't actually like sticking with the scripts, and I have gone with the Knicks to win the finals at 10-1 at the moment to win it out. I just think that the Thunder just had it all their own way last year, pretty much from game one. They'd only lost 14 regular season games and then just kind of waltzed their way through the playoffs. They had it too easy.
It did
It's
not
not going to
waltz
be
their
an
way
easy.
through the playoffs. They went
Uh,
7 games against the Nuggets.
Even still, like, yeah, they were still. Once they got to the finals, they were never going to lose to the Pacers. I think at 10-1, the Knicks are a great shout. The Thunder are 5-2, which is a good odd as well. But Jalen Brunson, 11-1, Finals MVP, Knicks lift the trophy. Blah blah blah. The Thunder are unhappy. I'm unhappy. Off we go.
I would be very surprised if the Knicks win it out this year. I just the big stage has always come undone for them, and a lot of players fall apart on the big stage too. I don't think Brunson is one of them, so I think if they are to win it, it's going to be an incredible
It will
effort
be
for
him.
him.
Yeah.
So that Finals MVP makes the most sense out of anybody on that Knicks team. I just can't see that if they did have the Thunder, that it would go that way. But I've got two completely different teams, so I've got the Nuggets and the Magic in mine. I'm going with the Nuggets to win in 6. I just think they're too strong. They're the same team, as I've already said, that won a championship, but yet they're better. And last year, even in their weakened state, they brought the Thunder to 7. They're, they're just a superb team. I just think that all around, everything about them makes sense. There might be questions about the coach, but really, when Jokic is on the court, it doesn't matter who your coach is.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm going to have them to win it in 6. Now, for them and the Magic to just be in the finals together, that's 35-1. For the Nuggets to beat the Magic in the finals in an exact forecast, it's 50-1. So a bit mad there. It wouldn't be something I would be maybe taking a chance on, because you need both teams to get in and then you need someone to win. But maybe the Nuggets and Magic matchup at 35-1 is a nice one. And then Jokic finals MVP, I think 15-2 is crazy, because if he gets to the finals, I think he'd beat anybody, and he's the best player in the world, as I've already said. So that's my selection there. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I
I
think
think
if your finals ends up being what it is, then I do think the Nuggets will win that. I do think it'll be in 5 or 6 as well. I just don't think the Magic, if they get to finals this year, will have enough. They can't just go out there and bully the Nuggets, because no one bullies Jokic. And if he can't get under his skin, the rest of them are going to kind of just stand behind him and just say, "Oh, you're coming at us. I'm just going to put my big brother in front of me, and we'll see what you do then." So I think if that is the finals matchup, then it would be the Nuggets for me that will get over the line.
I I think the only thing I would change is, like, when two teams match up like that, you go with the best player in the world. So you always go with Jokic, and 100 times out of 100, if Jokic makes the finals, I'm going to be betting on him. But I think it's in 7, because I think if the Magic end up making the finals, they've done exactly what the Pacers did this year, and they've just, like, supercharged themselves every step
Yeah.
of the playoffs. I think, they'd have to beat some combination of the Sixers, Hawks, or the Knicks. Which I think, I mean, if the Sixers are healthy, even if Joel Embiid is playing 30 minutes a game, that is a frightening team to stand up if you're Paolo and you're playing the 4
Mhm.
on defense, and you have Joel Embiid 7'2" coming at you, and he's going to be
Shane is
falling
rolling the
every
eyes here
time.
as if as if Joel Embiid doesn't have the most talent of any
It's
NBA player.
absolutely, it's nothing to do with his talent. It's to do with his fitness. Like, is
But he
he
just
going to
said
be
if he
there
plays
if when
30
he gets to
minutes a
playoffs?
game,
Yeah,
I
that's the
know, but
caveat there.
when was the last time he did it? Like, has it been
but
3 years since he's been available for 30 minutes a game for 50, 60 games a season
He
and a
will.
playoff run?
my
I
point
mean,
is, I think the Magic are a pretty flawed team. If they're going to end up making the finals, it's going to be need to cover it up by their better best players. And I think if they get a hang of that and they make the finals, they'll at least push it with the Nuggets. But like you said, you got to just bet on the best player in the world, and Jokic will have a 60-point triple-double and have the MVP in his hands.
That's why I went with them to win the West as well, because I agree with your point you made before, Michael, that the OKC aren't weaker or anything like that. It's just the Nuggets are slightly better, and slightly better might get them that one extra game that they need to win. But those are our finals picks, or our finals picks and our playoff picks right across the board. So we've got one section left to wrap things up. We're going to throw out a hot take each. We know Michael is prepped and ready for this in his Stephen A. Smith shirt. And then we've got our 3 best bets each for the year ahead. And the reason I didn't say too much on Embiid there is because you'll see why in a minute. Let's go hot takes first. Let's get for you, Michael, because I know you're dying for this moment. Let's get it on you right into the camera. The biggest hot take from Michael for a season ahead.
Kawhi's contract should be absolutely voided. He should not be playing for the Clippers right now. That man completely circumvented the cap, and we want to put all the blame on the Clippers, right? We want to put all of that blame on the Clippers and Steve Ballmer. But all he had to do was sign a couple of basketballs, take a couple photos shaking people's hands, one pointing at a tree, and no one would have talked about this. It is just straight up pride that he doesn't want to do anything for $48 million. Joe Smith did did like a 30th of what this was, like 1% of what this was in terms of cash, and his contract got voided. But just because it's the richest owner, this is a horrible look for the league. This is actually a horrible look for the league. The fact that the All-Star game is on in the Clippers Stadium this year, and they're saying, we can't come out with it until after the All-Star game. Of course you would say that. It was the most upsetting thing I've read about this whole offseason. Every episode of Pablo Torre Fans Out, I was watching it immediately. It was outrageous.
One reason I think that is not going to happen is because so many owners are doing similar things with their players, and that none of them are pushing for this. No other owner is going, "Oh, guys, we really need to, get on this." No, none of them are doing it. That's why it's not going to happen, because no one cares about us as fans and what we want to say. It's all about the owners. They have the money. If they don't want it, it's not happening.
At a certain point, it's got to be about exposure, right? When it comes to the owners. Like, if there's a 6-part docuseries and he's bringing it out incrementally, letting you incriminate yourself, and then bringing out more, and then letting you do it again, and doing it 4 times? Come on, man. Like, at some point, it can't just be a fine on the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Kawhi is also involved in this. And there's been a lot of ex-players saying, like, why are we looking into it? He could have done a smidgen of something and they wouldn't be talking about
one picture.
It's because he's doing nothing.
Yeah. But he doesn't care. Like, he demanded so much throughout the years through the uncle, and this is just him. So yeah, I like the hot take. I think that would be a very interesting turn of events, and it would get a lot of headlines. So give your hot take now, Shane. Where are you going with?
Yeah, so my hot take is not even on the same level as his. I kind of took the hot take as good bet, and I just have the Rockets to win the division at 8-1. It's nothing mental. I really wish if I had a couple of seconds there to pause the recording and go find something outrageous after listening to Michael there, I'd have done it. But I just went with the Rockets to win the division. Yeah, Rockets to win the division at 8-1. Why not?
Yeah, I think not hugely hot, but given that none of us picked them, then there's a bit of warmth there. It's a bit toasty. I'm gonna go with something similar to Michael, I guess, but mine is that LeBron, he's gonna be sick. He's gonna see this Luka team. He's gonna see everybody going, Luka, this is all about you for the future. Everyone within the Lakers organization, suddenly JJ Redick is Luka's best friend. They're going for coffee together. They're drinking wine together. Even during the season, they shouldn't be doing it, but they're doing it. LeBron is just getting so annoyed. He just doesn't know what to do. He's not even injured right now. He's just lying. He just doesn't like what's going on. He can already see it coming. Before the trade deadline, he's coming out. He's saying, "Get me out of here. I want to be the main face somewhere else." And LeBron is going to demand to leave this Lakers team in season.
Does
To
he bring his
where?
son?
Yeah, and where is he going?
Does he bring
Doesn't
Bronny?
matter where
Is the
he's
first
going.
question.
He's just gone.
Oh my god,
He's gone, lad. That's the end of it. He's saying, "Oh, well, the East over there. That East looks good, huh? East.
man!
I'll take a bit of that Milwaukee look with Giannis. Ooh, we've got three
So,
I
Antetokounmpos and a couple of Jameses.
yeah,
Let's just go straight at it."
one is 35.
It would, but you have to imagine he's gonna be like, I'm so upset. I'm gonna go get a penthouse in Milwaukee.
No, that was just a troll. I'm not actually saying he's going to.
Okay, I was like, the
I
Bucks.
won't, I'm not
But
adding in extras of picking the team where he ends up. I'm just gonna. My hot take is that he's gonna be like, "Get me out of this place in season."
if he just goes across, he says, you know what? You know those old guys across the
Oh,
hall? Get me there.
sign
I
me one
want to
of
get
those
back
tree
with Ty
deals.
Lue. I can still see my son every day.
He'll take
It's
pictures with as
it's
many trees as he needs to. He'll sort it out for
Yeah,
Kawhi.
he
He'll
will.
say,
he'll
I'll
do
take the
it.
pictures with you, bro."
He'll smooth it all over.
Yeah,
Photo of him and Kawhi next to an apple tree. It'll be beautiful.
yeah, I agree. I think our two probably tie in. Your one is about to happen, and LeBron goes, "Let me just step in here and get a quick snap of this oak tree," and then everything is finished. Everything is sorted. The Clippers, they just run the whole way. They've got that wall going in the Intuit Dome, and they are running all their way. And let me change my finals pick.
The Clippers.
Give
Mic
me the
drop.
Clippers.
To be fair, I do think if LeBron got traded to Clippers, no one would talk about it. It would be completely forgotten. If you look up Clippers,
Mhm.
Kawhi, it'll just be Kawhi and LeBron playing together, blah, blah, blah. Like, there would just be no coverage on it.
Oh
It
man,
would
James Harden's
get
going to be
smothered.
so upset. Oh my god, he's going to be so upset.
And then he demands to get traded, and all of a sudden we have this big,
And
massive
everyone's like,
last day of
Oh.
the trade
"Bro, no one
deadline.
cares." I was like, "Bro, no."
Everyone going everywhere.
Just take a picture with a shrub or something of James Harden. It's okay. We're fine. Yeah, that's our hot take. So let's wrap up finally then. But we've got three best bets for the year ahead. I'm gonna go with mine first. I'm gonna throw it out. My first one is the Nuggets to win it all. I think 7-1 is very good, so I like that one, and I like the odds on it. And I think I already mentioned it on our NFL chat, but I doubled them up with the Rams to win the Super Bowl as a very big outside bet. So I like that. I like the Nuggets to win. Then another one I've gone with is the Knicks to get the most regular season wins. I see them as a very strong regular season team in a kind of a weakened East, and a lot of the Western teams maybe balancing each other out and losing games here or there, and then you get the Knicks on a charge over in the East. And so that's 12-1. And then last up, I've got Joel Embiid grabbing that MVP, 125-1. He is, when he plays, to mention, going back, I think, Shane, what you said maybe 3 years ago was when he was last the full complement. What did he do? What did he do that season? He won that MVP. Let's look at him already in preseason. Let's look at he was driving with the ball. He was in transition. He wasn't throwing those long passes. He was saying, "No, I'm bringing this thing up." And then there's a couple of times he said, "Let me just dish it to the young fellas, and I'm going to let this reset." If they do that in the season, if they save his legs, and he plays a lot, then he does have a chance. Now, do I think he'll win it? No, it's 125-1. I just think it's a very, very good price for somebody who is so talented. There's no way you could say that he's 125-1 to bring this in. He has way too much talent for that. So I'm going with that as my third. Just chuck a couple of bob on it and see what happens. So what have you got then for your three best bets, Shane?
I had LeBron to be traded to the Nets at 66-1. I literally just looked that up 4 seconds ago when you started talking about it, so I'm taking the piss there. No, I have the Rockets to win the title at 13-1. I don't think the odds are anything special, but I'm just using this all day as a Rockets hype train. So I have to finish up with something that keeps me on the hype train. I have put back in my Kevin Durant MVP shout at 60-1 because I do think one of them isn't going to come without the other one. I think if anyone's going to win an MVP there, it will be him. And then finally, I have Rockets to win their division is 8-1. Obviously,
Jesus,
if
all
they get into the
Rockets.
finals, All Rockets, yeah. I hate picking best bets, and especially in the NBA because there's so little surprises. So I was just like, yeah, let's just go All Rockets and they can get over us.
Okay, Mike, what you've got?
You guys had all the good ones already. Okay, first one of my one was Rockets winning.
You can
Same
still
same
use
as you,
it.
Shane. Look, the OKC had a great year in terms of when their injuries landed, and they ended up being all good for the finals. But I mean, what happened to the Celtics? The injury bug. They've just won one finals. Are they going to be hit with the same fatigue halfway through the season, and then you're going to start seeing some of their best players go down? You never know. But I think the Rockets are pretty good. I mean, they've got enough young talent. They've got KD there to just give them buckets efficiently. I think that's a great bet. My second one was also Joel Embiid for MVP because I'm saying if
Yes.
look, there's only two people if completely healthy in the league. If everyone in the league is healthy, there's only two people talking about MVP. One is Embiid, and two is Jokic. So Jokic is obviously the favorite because he doesn't miss time. But if Joel Embiid doesn't miss that much time, now, if I am the Sixers, I'm pleading with them. You don't need to go for it. Please.
No.
It's okay. Just wait for the playoffs. But knowing Joel Embiid, if he feels good, he's going to demand to get on that floor. And if he's genuinely feeling good for the season, I'm not saying he's going to play 70 games, but he is definitely going to be up there for MVP. He's going to drop, so if he's willingly playing all those games, he's just going to be dropping 30-point nights like it's nothing.
How many
It's
games
going
do
to
you
be
think he
insane.
will play? If we're talking now with what do you
60.
know going into the season? Is he going? How many do you think he's going to play
I
out
think
of
60.
healthy? Do you think six? Do you think he gets 60?
Between 55 and 60, I would say, yeah, they'll manage him in that
Okay.
way.
Michael?
Yeah, I would go. I don't know if I'd go over 60. I definitely go 55 and
I just
60.
don't
But
think that the
like,
Sixers would put him in that position where he has to play
yeah,
in 60.
but I think
Okay.
if he's feeling good and he's at like 55 and they've got like 20 games left, he
Yeah,
might just go for it.
then he'll push it. Yeah, at that point he will. I think, and he's the all-time leading points per minute player
Yeah.
of all time in the NBA. So there you go. That's your last one.
And then my last one is pretty boring. It's Pistons for over 45 and a half wins. I
Nice.
just really like the Pistons. I think they could what I don't know. I had lost the odds for it right now. I
If
don't
that's
know
the
where they
line,
are.
it's going to be like, if that's the line, then it's going to be like evens around that. So
Yeah, it's gonna be evens, but I mean I like the Pistons. I think it's an easy bet. I'll probably parlay it with something else and add it on as a leg or something. But I just feel like Cade Cunningham had a great year last year, and people seem kind of like a little bit down on the Pistons. I think Duncan Robinson is a little bit of an underrated addition over Malik Beasley. I mean, they're not asking him to do anything crazy, but for the price that he's at, I think it's decent. He's one of like the premier 3-point shooters that was not getting used on the Miami Heat at all. And I think Cade just keeps ascending. I think he has another year where he looks really, really, really good.
Jaden Ivey back again.
If he can
All
stay
good.
healthy, that looks like a much more different team.
No, I like it. I like it. Those are our last shouts of the day. You're fully locked and loaded now for the week ahead and the season ahead, but big week to get at least the season started. So good luck to all of your teams, whoever you support. And thanks again for listening. Thanks again to Michael for jumping on with us. It's a pleasure, as always. And yeah, we'll leave it there for you, lads. And we will catch you again on Thursday for our regular episode.